Well, thank you guys for having me. For anyone that doesn't know, I'm a presidential director with LifeWave. I've been with the company almost 18 months now. My story started with my husband. He had developed a tremor. He's about to be 60 years old, but other than that, has no illnesses, no symptoms of anything, takes no medication. He runs circles around everybody as far as his energy, gets so much done by 8 a.m. I mean, just Energizer Bunny kind of guy. And out of the blue, he developed a tremor. And, at first I really didn't take it too seriously. And then after, it continued and it became more and more prevalent. It went from just once a day to several times a day to even overnight. I realized we had an issue. So what we do, and I got on Google, and Google will scare the life out of you at 3 a.m. in case you didn't know. And I don't recommend it, but basically Google said that my husband had five of the top six symptoms of early Parkinson's, possibly. And it just shook me to my core, and this could not be our story. So at that point, I reached out to a dear friend of mine here in town. We live in Greenville, South Carolina, and she's the one who introduced me to these patches. And long story short, after a month, his tremor went away. And as I said, we're about 18 months in, and it has not come back. So that was my early story, if you will. It was my husband's story. And that's what I told people about, because although I began patching the same day he did, I don't think I completely understood how sick I really was. I'm a massage therapist here in Greenville, and you just slowly over time, you just adapt to how badly you feel, if you will. And what my day would look like is, first of all, I didn't sleep at night. I was exhausted, complete, bone crushing exhaustion every single day. I would arrange my schedule every day that I would see my clients up until, like, I try to be done by 1 or 2 in the afternoon every day, only so that I could take a nap in the afternoon, because I could not function without the nap. I was so, so, so tired. And in addition to that, I was drinking a full pot of coffee every single day just to try to get by. And even with the full pot of coffee, I would lay down and take a nap every day, at least an hour, sometimes 2 hours, and wake up just still that bone crushing exhaustion. Another thing that had happened is I've always been thin my entire life. I've always had a very fast metabolism. It's just the way that my family, genetics. But all of a sudden, over the last 10 years, I had put on a significant amount of weight for me, almost 30 pounds extra. For me, that was a lot for my frame. And there was really no rhyme or reason for it, because I was just as active as I had been, as much as I could be. My diet hadn't changed, exercise, nothing was different except that I was older. In addition, I was finding, my hair I would wash my hair and huge amounts of hair would come out every time. It was like I would just cry in the shower because I'd have these huge balls of hair. And you could actually see in the back of my head, you could actually see my scalp in places. So I was having to get creative about how I would arrange my hair to kind of hide that, which was very unnatural for me, because I've always had lots and lots of hair. Another thing that I struggled with was major inflammation. So I actually, when you look at my pictures, my before pictures, if you will, I had this like moon face, this rounded, puffy face. My eyelids were so heavy. I just so inflamed. And that's really, I think, what a lot of that extra weight was major amounts of inflammation for me. And then lastly, the big thing that I had was very, very dry skin. So as I said, we started patching. I started the same day my husband did. By the end of the first month of the patches, and, I was wearing all of them in fairness. But by the end of the first month, I definitely knew that I was sleeping better. And that by itself, I thought, if these patches do nothing else but just improve my sleep so I can actually get real rest, I'm in. I'm sold. But over time, my story just kept improving and improving and improving. And by month 4, that's when the weight started to come off. And again, there was nothing different. I hadn't added any new exercise routine. I hadn't changed my diet. I was just, all of a sudden, the weight started coming off. And as I sit here today, 18 months later, I've lost 27 pounds without doing anything different. My hair has all come back and then some. In the beginning, it was really funny if you look at my progression photos because, I went from really thin, very dry, brittle, pitiful hair to these like alfalfa sprouts everywhere. And I was having to like get creative and like pinning and spraying, trying to tame it all down. But I was so thankful to have this crazy kind of Einstein look going on. Um, and then the brain fog slowly cleared. I found I could keep my thoughts again as I was talking to people. I didn't sound like a typical blonde that people, that we all kind of have that reputation of a dumb blonde. I felt like I had stepped into that place and that hadn't been me. So all of a sudden I was able to hold a conversation like I used to. And my skin started to improve, and I'm 51 years old. I turned 51 last month, and I feel like I look better than I have definitely in a decade, maybe even longer. But I no longer, not only do I not need that nap any longer, I no longer can nap any longer because I've tried. You know how you get a rainy, cold day, you just want to curl up with a book and take a good nap? Tried it, can't do it, cannot do it any longer. I'm just like, I got to get up, I got to be doing stuff. It's just, it has truly given me my life back. And I truly, everyone will say, well, which patches, and what did you do? And I really, truly, it's hard to say because as I said, I wore them all. Because as you start to learn what they all do, there really isn't one that we can't benefit from, right? So I do wear them all, but I know that I know specifically for me, SP6 was a game changer. I never went in to get diagnosed, but I had almost every single clinical symptom of an underactive thyroid disorder. But I also knew that if I had gone in and been tested, one of two things would have happened. Either they would have said likely that, oh, your numbers are all fine, you're good, you're just anxious, or here's a antidepressant or whatever. Or, even if it had shown on a blood panel that yes, your thyroid numbers are off, then there would have been thyroid medication that I would be prescribed for the rest of my life, which came with its own host of long, awful side effects. And I wasn't interested in that. So for those reasons, I never went and were, tested clinically for it because I just wasn't interested in any of what I knew to be their solutions, if you will. So, yeah, but I think, just that, day to day of, wearing that SP6 every day, in addition to my 39 and in addition to my 49 and my Eon and all the other amazing patches that we have, it just brought my body back into balance, brought my thyroid back into balance. And as that happened, for me, I was not a one patch wonder, which we all want to be. I wasn't even close to a one patch wonder, but looking back over time, I saw my story really truly unfold in that way.
Wow, that is so powerful, Candy, for you and your husband both. I mean, to have such a huge difference. Which patches were you using on your husband?
So for him, we started with 39, 49, Eon, and glutathione for him. Those were the four initially. And then, of course, like I said, the more I dug into them, the more I realized, oh, well, we need this one. We need the 49 for bone density. And you start to learn what they all do. And we've added, and we wear every single patch. The only patch that my husband does not wear and will probably never wear is energy enhancing patches because the man has more energy than most 6 people put together.
That's so good. Yeah, one he just doesn't need because he just naturally has all the energy, but this dealt with a little symptom that was coming up there and then just got rid of it so quickly. I know you were so blessed because that was something you were really concerned about that you've shared before, and then to have this just all that just go away, right?
Yeah,
Just
we are so thankful, so very thankful.
wow,
So
that's so good.
if there were like 4 patches that you wouldn't go without a day, Candy, because or if you were just going to start with something with what you were dealing with, because I know you've been patching for a long time. And let's say somebody was brand new on here tonight and never patched before, didn't know, what would you tell them?
I think if they don't have any specific symptoms or any specific diagnosis, it would be the 39, the Eon, glutathione, and carnosine. Those 4, I think, are critical and cover so many things. If they identify with more of my story, where it was like a hormonal, maybe hot flashes, irregular cycles, fatigue, weight gain, hair, definitely look at adding SP6. I think that is a big, big deal for that. And of course, we know X49 is also really, really fantastic for regrowing hair.